Happy Friday, fifth grade. We're going to start out with a little poetry, and we are going to read a poem today by Edward Hirsch, whom you already know as the author of Execution. That was the poem we read about his high school football coach who was dying of cancer, and he played around with the multiple meanings of the word execution. Um, well, let me tell you something. He doesn't fool around in the title of today's poem. He calls it Proustian, so we know right from the get-go that this will be his version of a Madeline. It is lovely. It's a perfect poem to weave together all the threads of the Proustian poetry of the last few days. Follow along with me as I read, guys. Proustian. At times it seems lucky and unexpected, the past, and who we were then, and what the mind brings back on an overcast day in late September. The dense, evanescent clouds shifting overhead, the wind fingering the branches in the live oaks, the little chunks of our childhood selves, floating to the surface after all these years, like memories that we imagined, or tiny bits of metal constellating on magnets. One moment we are drinking coffee at the window on a wet day falling around us. The next moment we are putting our heads down on our desks for story time, or cleaning our lockers, or filing into the schoolyard for a fire drill. Soon we are pulling on sleek yellow slickers and splashing home in the rain to our parents and grandparents. I see a boy throwing his arms around his grandmother's neck and hugging her. He eats sugar cookies that he dunks in milk, and plays in his room by himself now, happily, in a fort that he has built next to his bed. Sometimes it's enough just to remember. There was once a time before we knew about time, when the self and the world fit snugly together. All right, guys, here's what I'm asking you to do in today's poem. I want you to go back into Proustian, and I want you to comment on all the lines that got you thinking and remembering. And of course, anything else that you would like to talk about. When you go in and comment on those lines that got you to thinking, tell me what those lines prompted you to think about. And the lines that got you remembering, tell me what they got you remembering about. Be specific, okay? And then, of course, anything else that you'd like to talk about too. It could be something that you're confused about. It could also be something that you noticed, like a technique that you noticed Edward Hirsch used, or maybe it was vivid language or sensory language. Also, pay attention to the conclusion of this poem because I think it's a really, really good one. So you might add a comment about that too, your opinion of it and why you have that opinion. I'm going to ask you to go do that in just a minute, but I want to wrap things up because we'll be moving on to a new grouping of poems. And as you know, we are going to be wrapping up our third memoir soon. And so we'll be shifting into some new genres of writing, but poetry is one that can always serve purposes just for you as a person. And so I kind of want to talk about that for a minute. What Edward Hirsch did in this poem makes me think of something William Carlos Williams wrote. That that is the poet's business, not to talk in vague categories, but to write particularly as a physician works with a patient, upon the thing before him, in the particular to discover the universal. Hirsch could have written a poem in which he tells this theory about the power of remembering childhood. Instead, he shows us what he derives through remembering the particulars of his childhood, and thereby evokes our own childhood memories and our awareness of their importance in our lives. It's a universal lesson about good poetry that we can take away from all of the particular Madelines we've read. Your poems about the specifics of your personal experiences will come alive, will resonate for readers whose personal experiences are different from yours, in ways that generalized statements say about childhood or memory never could. Discover your own Madelines, reveal them to us, and reveal us to ourselves. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I love and miss you. Go ahead and go in there and remember you're commenting on the things, the lines and words that got you to thinking and what you were thinking about. the lines and words that got you to remembering and what you were remembering. And then, of course, I want you to comment on anything else that you'd like to talk about. And then the last thing you're going to do is go down to the conclusion and share your opinion about the conclusion and why you have that opinion. All right, guys, so 3 different types of comments that I'm looking for. And then, of course, if you had anything else that you wanted to say or comment on, you could do that as well. So make me proud, work hard, and don't be skimpy on your comments. I want to see lots and lots of examples of your thinking. Bye, guys.